right, so episode 4 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, is available now on Disney+. This will be my non-spoiler/spoiler review. So when the time comes and you don't want any spoilers for this episode, or really any of the episodes so far, I will let you know when to click off. But as for right now, my non-spoiler review for this episode / kind of the episodes that came before it starts right now. So this episode so far, like out of all of them, I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. I still have a lot of fun with this episode. It's not my favorite, not my least favorite. Honestly, I wouldn't even know what to say are my least and most favorite episodes so far, because it's all been a little lackluster, but at the same time, the show isn't trying to do anything like super insane and like, I don't know, as I wouldn't want to say groundbreaking, but I don't know, as high stakes, I guess you could say, as some of the other Disney Plus shows, like WandaVision. Like, this isn't WandaVision level of craziness and just, like, madness going on and like, will change everything about the MCU going forward. I don't know if that's necessarily what this show is going for, but it's doing its own thing. It's doing something that the MCU has not done before, and I can appreciate it for that. I mean, you got the fourth wall breaking in there, which doesn't always work for me in this show, to be honest, but I don't always hate it. There are some lines, especially in the last episode, when she had like an A and B plot kind of fourth wall break. That was the best fourth wall break out of the whole show so far. That and maybe the one in the first episode that you saw in the trailers where she's like, Bruce says something about, oh, if you want to go back to your life as a lawyer, that's fine. And then she's like, he didn't mean that. And then she looked almost confused about it. But yeah, I mean, that one's great. But the one in the last episode, in terms of just comedy, I thought was like the most funny one for me, just because that's the kind of thing I look at in these types of shows. So, but yeah, as I said, not my favorite episode so far, but I still had quite a lot of fun with this one. I mean, the stakes are very low, but at the same time, you kind of just get to see these characters be normal people. Like, just because they have these superhuman abilities or magic or whatever it might be, they're still normal people at the end of the day. They watch TV shows, they watch Sopranos, they watch whatever it might be, you know, they drink, they you know, usually end up regretting drinking. You know, you get characters like specifically in this episode starting dating apps and whatnot. So, I mean, you just kind of get to see people be people. And even though they have these superhuman abilities, you know, you kind of just see how they live their lives with that in mind. So I appreciate that about this show for sure. It takes it down to a more human level, even though you're dealing with inhuman kind of superhuman characters, and you know that's something the show really has going for it, so I will commend it for that. Last episode I had a real problem with the whole, you know, I'm sure everybody has heard about it by now, the whole Megan Thee Stallion thing. I didn't necessarily have a problem with it as much as some other people do, but for me, I'm just like, really? I mean, that's kind of how you date your stuff, really, because no offense to Megan Thee Stallion, but is Megan Thee Stallion gonna be like what Queen was in I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years? I don't think so. I always love it when loud ass trucks just pass by my house. It's just so fun. Yeah. Where I live too, trucks are just so common and people are okay, I'm gonna say this right now, just a vent. But most people, maybe not most people, but a decent amount of people that I see who drive trucks honestly think they own the road and are complete douchebags. So, yeah, there you go. Hopefully I didn't piss anybody off with that. That is not the thing I think I would piss anybody off with today in this review, but hey, there you go. Yeah, that just sidetracked me, but yeah, this episode I thought was fun. Let me see what else I have in my notes here. I already said that the stakes are pretty low and that I don't mind that. Even though the stakes are low in this episode, we still get a really cool action scene, which honestly, we haven't had much of an action scene in the last 2 episodes. The biggest action scene we got was in the first episode, and from there on out, not as much. and any action that we do get doesn't last that long, but this one lasted like probably like a 5 minute action scene or something like that, which honestly with this runtime takes up like half the episode. Not really, but the fight scene in here I did think was fun. I'm not going to spoil exactly what that fight scene was about or what was going on or who was involved, but it was fun to watch, to say the least. Let me see here. The cameos in here feel less like cameos and more like they are integral to the story, which I very much appreciate, because in the past, in the movies and shows and stuff like that, sometimes we get these cameos and they don't really add a whole lot. They're just there to be like, hey, look at me, I'm that one character, I'm that one actor just popping up in this thing. But in here, the cameos that you do get almost don't even feel like cameos because they feel like just show regulars. So you have characters in here like Wong and Emil Blonsky, which I'm sure we're going to be seeing again, and Hulk, obviously. So the cameos feel less like cameos, at least so far. I'm sure we're going to get a little bit more. She kind of, in the promo or whatever, was like, don't expect this to be a cameo every week kind of show, which so far it pretty much has been. But yeah, I mean, I have a feeling there are going to be a couple cameos in there that just feel possibly shoehorned, but maybe not. I could be wrong. I mean, we all know Daredevil's coming. That's what I hope this show isn't. I hope it's not just introducing Daredevil for like 5 minutes and then that's the last we see of him until his own show or whatever. But, I mean, so far, the cameos don't feel like cameos, exactly like I said. So, yeah, that's very cool, and I commend it for that as well. And then the last thing I will say here is this episode has a character which has a very, 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 like, only maybe 1 or 2 words off from a very popular Marvel anti-hero that we have not seen in the Netflix shows or in the live-action MCU so far. I will let you speculate in the comments who that might be. If you've seen the episode, you probably know who I'm talking about. Also, I just spit, so that's gross. Yeah, maybe don't put it in the comments for the people that are watching the non-spoiler review. But yeah, there's a specific character in here that is completely unattached from, the character that I'm talking about here, the anti-hero. But at the same time, it's just like weird that they would have a name be so similar to it. It makes me wonder if they're setting up something. Hopefully not with this actor. Nothing against the actor, but I don't think that's the right actor for that character. So, also, I think there's somebody cutting wood with like, the thing, the saw. Yeah, there's somebody doing that in their garage, and that's really annoying. I live out in the country. This is a normal thing for me, and it's really annoying. I hate it. But I guess if I were living in the city, it'd be even worse. So, I mean, you win some, you lose some. But yeah, that's really all I have to say for this episode in terms of the non-spoilers. Just to, like, not give anything away, really, because I feel like in the last few reviews, I've been giving away possibly a little bit too much, but, it is what it is. Yeah, non-spoiler review, over with. Let's get into the spoilers. So if you don't want any spoilers for episode 4 of She-Hulk, or really any of the episodes so far, then I suggest you click off now. Thank you for watching. For those of you who are leaving, leave a like on the video, subscribe, do all that stuff. See you later. Let's get into some spoilers here. For the spoiler review, it's less of a review and more of a breakdown, I guess you could say. So I'm basically going to break down the big moments of the episode. So we start off not with She-Hulk, but with Donnie Blaze, and that's the character I was talking about there, being very similar to Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider. People were speculating that, oh, is that going to be Ghost Rider, but with a slightly altered name? No, probably not. So he's a magician, not Ghost Rider, and he's doing a show, not going very well, and then he pulls out a sling ring, opens up a portal, and this chick, what's her name? Madison. She ends up going in this portal, and then she ends up in Nepal in Kamar-Taj, I believe, where Wong is about to watch Sopranos. Got that great theme music going, which, by the way, I have not really watched Sopranos, but I know the theme music, so yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the Sopranos movie, however, Many Saints of Newark, but yeah, Madison shows up at the at Kamar-Taj, and Wong's like, what's going on? How'd you get here? She has a freaking heart in her hand. I'm like, what? How does she have a freaking, why? What is going on? And, she's talking about, let me see here, talking about goblins. There was like a goblin king or something like that. There's some kind of hints in the end credits or whatever, and the art that they do for the credits, where she's like talking to a goat and she's signing something like I don't even know what, a document, I don't know, but yeah, kind of giving me some Mephisto vibes there. So I keep theorizing, and New Rockstars, Eric Voss, like everybody keeps theorizing, oh, Mephisto, but we'll see when that character shows up, if that character shows up. I feel like he has to at some point, but maybe for that Agatha Harkness show. But let me see here. So Wong gets parts of Sopranos spoiled for him. Therefore, I get parts of Sopranos spoiled for me, but I don't know any of the characters other than Tony, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Jen's making a dating profile. She starts off with using her human form, literally just like the corporate headshot of her at her job. And even me, I'm just like, I don't know if that's the best picture to use for, people to see you for the first time. It's not like the best first impression to have like a work photo. I don't know. I don't really do online dating though, so I can't really judge. But it makes a dating profile, and then Wong shows up. He's like, yo, dude, we gotta stop Donnie Blaze because he has a sling ring and he's like putting people in danger, which is understandable. And they take it to court. They don't get what they want immediately. They have to wait a few weeks for the judge's decision. So Donnie is able to go and do magic again, ends up summoning these little demon baby flying creatures that end up growing and growing quickly. Wong is like, or no, Donnie goes to Wong and he's like, hey, bud, I need your help. And Wong goes to help. Wong says, hey, She-Hulk, I need your help. She's in the middle of the date with this really nice guy, seemingly. And, she has to go fight. And then she comes back through the portal on the ceiling and she, like, lands on him. But she's, like, does that sexy pose from the trailer, And I was just like, ooh, okay. They had a fun night. But the thing that pissed me off is by the morning, when she's back in her gen form, he leaves because he feels weird or something. I don't know. I think something might be up with that guy because I think the people from the last episode, what's it called? I forget what they're called in the comics, but the construction crew or whatever. I wish I could remember that name. I can't remember at the moment what their name in the comics are, unfortunately. But I think he might be part of that crew or something like that. Like his boss might be the same boss they had, and he's trying to infiltrate and get information on her. And rather than going after her and fighting her, because obviously that didn't work the first time, you gotta go in this direction to, like, I don't know, kind of trick her, I guess. But I don't know if that's for sure what it was, or if he was just kind of turned off by the whole gen form thing. But that sucks. I felt really bad for her, and I was just like, yeah, of course he's gonna fucking leave when she's not in She-Hulk form, because you're gonna date all these, or not date, but like you're gonna go on a date with all these guys who are assholes and just looking for the She-Hulk. And then you go on one date and he doesn't seem to really mention it. He seems like a good guy. And by the time you feel comfortable enough to go back to your human form, he doesn't like you in that form. And that really fucking sucks. Also, there's a perspective in here and towards the beginning where a guy comes up to Nikki and Jen while they're working on stuff. And he's like, oh, let me buy you sexy ladies a drink. And then, like, as he's walking away, she's like, that's why I don't date. And it's stuff like that I put myself in the shoes of a woman and imagine how they would feel in that situation, because I'm not confrontational at all. And so, like, if I were going to confront somebody about it, even as a man, it makes me nervous for them to like come back and be like, what the fuck did you say to me? So like to be a woman in that situation sounds fucking terrifying. Like, I already have enough anxiety dealing with people as it is, and women have to deal with like 10 times that. So that scene, I don't know why that scene in particular, maybe like not realize that because I already knew that, but I don't know, just kind of made me think about it. But yeah, I feel for you guys. Even though I don't go through what you're going through, I kind of feel for you because yeah, I hate interacting with people sometimes. But especially assholes like that. Like that guy is such a fucking creep. But sorry for swearing a lot in this episode or this video. I probably shouldn't be swearing as much. Kids probably watch, but oh well, kids have probably heard worse, and I don't say anything too bad. But let me see here. I think I honestly that's kind of just how this episode is. I've pretty much already talked about most of what happened in this episode just by kind of summing up some things. But let me see here. I liked seeing Wong and Donnie kind of trying to compete with each other with their magic. So that was kind of fun. A lot of Wong moments in this episode. And that's kind of what I was talking about with the whole cameo thing, like not really feeling like cameos because Wong just feels like a part of the cast at this point, you know? So I appreciate that. I like Wong. Sometimes he feels a little too cartoony with just some of the things that he does, but I loved him in this episode, especially that after credit scene with him and Madison just like talking about different drinks they've had. Like it's dumb. It really doesn't add anything to the episode, but it's just kind of fun to see that Wong has a little buddy. So I don't know. That's just I like to see Wong. I like to see Wong. We must care for Wong and protect him at all costs. So yeah, we love Wong. Let me see here. Oh yeah, their lawyer is a magician. Donnie's lawyer is even a magician. I thought that was funny. Jen was like, "Oh my god, even their lawyer is a magician." Let me see here. She ends up setting up her account, her dating profile as She-Hulk, and immediately gets a million swipes, and that's when she goes on the whole dating montage thing, and then ends up with that one guy in the end. Let me see here. Titania, this is towards the end of the episode. On the news, it says that Titania is cleared of all the charges, and then Jen finds out that she's being taken to court by Titania for using the name She-Hulk, which Titania has now trademarked, which, I mean, how are you going to do that necessarily? Because they literally said it for the first time on the news, just some random dude. So, like, I don't know. Is that how that works? I have no idea, but I don't know. I guess we're going to see Titania next episode, most likely, so that's fun. I do like Titania. I do like Jameela Jamil. For those of you who don't know, she was on a show called The Good Place. I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. It is a great show. She plays Tahani on that show, and she is hilarious, and just, I love her. But yeah, I'm excited to see Titania again. We've only seen her that one time since episode 1, literally. So I was like, we need to see her again. It's Jameela Jamil. Why are you going to cast her in the episode and put her on the posters and whatnot if she's only going to be in it for a little bit? But I knew she was going to show up again, obviously. As for this episode, I was watching the Double Toasted review of the last episode, talking about the whole craziness of, you know, the Megan Thee Stallion thing. And they pretty much told me what this episode was about. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, it made it easier to make the thumbnail ahead of time before the episode. But yeah, I kind of knew what this one was going into it. So the next one, I'm going to assume that we're going to see Jameela Jamil as Titania again. But past that, I don't really know what else we're going to see other than like Daredevil, Frogman. But I don't know when we're going to see all that stuff. And I don't know what surprises they have in store. Is Titania going to be like the main kind of antagonist of the show at this point? Because I could really see that happening. And the more time we spend with Titania, the more we find out that maybe her boss is also the person that is it called the damage? No, it's not. Those construction workers. Maybe her boss is the same as their boss is the same as the one dude she had over at her house's boss, possibly, if he is connected somehow. trying to get information out of her, which I would not be surprised, because during the date he was literally like, oh, I hate talking about myself on the date, let's talk about you, and trying to find out more information about her and stuff like that. So I don't know. That being said, fun episode, not my favorite so far. I really don't know which one would be my favorite so far. I guess maybe the first episode, but hopefully the episodes start to get a little bit better. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I kind of said I didn't like the whole Megan Thee Stallion thing from the last episode, which I don't necessarily, but I don't hate it in the way a lot of people do, where it's like, oh, Tony Stark had the whole I am Iron Man moment. Like, we had all these influential moments in Marvel, and then we just get She-Hulk twerking. And I'm like, that's not necessarily the point of it. It's just a joke, and people are taking it too seriously. But at the same time, the problem I have with it is just that it's dating the show with Megan Thee Stallion, because I guarantee in like 10, 15, 20 years, and people aren't really going to know who Megan Thee Stallion is. No offense to Megan Thee Stallion. I could be completely wrong. Sorry to any Megan Thee Stallion stans out there who I just pissed off by saying that, but is she really the queen of, or like, is she the Freddie Mercury or Elton John or freaking Dave Grohl or Kurt Cobain of this generation? I really don't think so, but maybe that's just me, okay? So yeah, hopefully I didn't piss anybody off in this episode. There's definitely a few different groups of people that I definitely could have. So yeah, there's my interesting review for episode 4 of She-Hulk, which, by the way, this episode is called Is This Not Real Magic? I forgot to mention that in the beginning there. But yeah, what did you think of this episode? Did you love it? Do you hate it? Are you in the middle? Try not to spoil anything in the comments below for the people that watch the non-spoiler review. If you do want to talk about spoilers, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram at Pop Culture Podcast, and I'd be more than happy to talk about some spoilers with you there. Leave a like on the video. I would very much appreciate that. Subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. And I will see you in the next episode, where I should be reviewing the new live-action Pinocchio film.